Welcome to the fourth part of The Summer of the Beautiful White Horse. That afternoon, my uncle Khusro came to our house for coffee and cigarettes. Aram's uncle Khusro came to his home. He took coffee and cigarettes. He sat in the parlor sipping and smoking and remembering the old country. Now, Uncle Khusro was sitting in the parlor. He was sitting in the hall. He was smoking, he was sipping the coffee, and he was remembering the old country. Then another visitor arrived, a farmer named John Bairo, an Assyrian who, out of loneliness, had learned to speak Armenian. While Uncle Khusro was sitting there in the hall, taking coffee and cigarettes, at the same time there came one more visitor. His name was John Bairo. He was a farmer from Assyria, and he knew how to speak Armenian language. My mother brought the lonely visitor coffee and tobacco, and he rolled a cigarette and sipped and smoked. Aram's mother also brought a cup of coffee for that John Bairo. She also brought tobacco for him. He smoked and sipped and sat there with Uncle Khusro. After he had taken coffee, after he had smoked the cigarette, very disappointedly, in a sad way, he spoke. My white horse, which was stolen last month, is still gone. I cannot understand it. This John Bairo broke a surprising news there. It was a news which feared Aram, because this horse which Aram and Murad had, it was the horse of John Bairo. And now that John Bairo was sitting in Aram's house, and he was complaining to Aram's mother that his horse had been stolen before 1 month, and he was very much sad about it. Now, my uncle Khusro became very much irritated and shouted, "It's no harm. What's the loss of a horse? Haven't we all lost the homeland? What is this crying over of a horse?" No. Uncle Khusro, in his usual style, in his usual way of speaking, started shouting at John Bairo. He spoke to John Bairo that crying over the loss of a horse is quite useless thing. We should not pay attention to the loss of a horse, because people in the world have lost their homeland. They have lost their motherland. They have lost their country. So what is the value of a horse which was stolen? That may be all right for you, a city dweller, to say. John Bairo said, but what of my Surrey? What good is a Surrey without a horse? Surrey here stands for cart. John Bairo added to his statement, he said that it was a great loss for him because his life depended on that horse and cart. Now his cart was useless without the horse. And he was not a person living in city. He was not a rich person. He was a person living in countryside, in a rural area. He was a poor person. The loss of horse was a big matter for him. Pay no attention to it, my uncle Khusro roared. I walked 10 miles to get here, John Bairo said. You have legs, my uncle Khusro shouted. My left leg pains me, the farmer said. Pay no attention to it, my uncle Khusro said. That horse cost me $60, the farmer said. I spit on money, my uncle Khusro said. Now, whenever the farmer, John Bairo, complained about the pain in his legs, Uncle Khusro said he had legs, that's why those legs were paining. Whenever he said that he purchased the horse very costly at $60, Uncle Khusro said he spits on money. He said he spits on money. It means it was his usual habit that he gave no value to money. Now you see, he got up and stalked out of the house, slamming the screen door. My mother explained he has a gentle heart. She said it's simply that he is homesick and such a large man. Now, after that, Uncle Khusro got irritated. He left the hall, closed the door, and went out of the home. After that, Aram's mother explained to John Bairo that Uncle Khusro was a man of gentle heart, but he used to be a little bit irritated because he was a homesick person and he was such a large man. He was sitting there in the home. He loved his family members very much, but there was a problem with him that he used to be easily irritated when anybody was talking about any kind of loss, etc. The farmer went away and I ran over to my cousin Murad's house. He was sitting under a peach tree trying to repair the hurt wings of a young robin which could not fly. He was talking to the bird. Aram was very much afraid and he wanted to report to Murad about the loss of the horse of John Bairo. He wanted to tell him that John Bairo had come to his home. As he reached there, he found that Murad was sitting under a peach tree. Peach is a fruit. He was sitting under a peach tree, and that moment, he was repairing the hurt wings of a young robin bird. Robin is a bird. Robin redbreast is the full name. He was talking to the bird. What's it? He said. The farmer John Barrow, I said, he visited our house. He wants his horse. You have had it a month. I want you to promise not to take it back until I learn to ride. Aram went there with the report that John Barrow had come to their house. He wanted his horse back, and Aram also reminded Murad that he came to know that the horse had been kept by him for last 1 month. And another condition of Aram was now that Murad must return the horse only when Aram also learns to ride horse. Because Aram had already seen that in last 1 month's practice, Murad had become an expert of horse riding. Now he also wanted to become an expert of horse riding just like Murad. That's why he was not in favor to return the horse so easily without learning. It will take you a year to learn to ride, my cousin Murad said. We could keep the horse a year, I said. My cousin Murad leaped to his feet. What? He roared. Are you inviting a member of the Garoglanian family to steal? The horse must go back to its true owner. Now, Murad told Aram that it would take at least 1 year for Aram to learn horse riding. Then Aram said he was ready for 1 year. The horse must be kept for 1 year. But Murad became very much angry, and in a roaring voice, he asked him whether Aram was in the favor of stealing the horse. Because Murad was nowhere in the favor of stealing the horse. He knew very well about the prestige of Garoglanian family. And he very openly told Aram that he was no longer going to steal the horse. He had to keep the prestige of his family safe. When I said in 6 months at the latest, he said, now you see. When Aram insisted that the horse must be kept, then Murad agreed to keep the horse for the latest 6 months. He threw the bird into the air. The bird tried hard, almost fell twice, but at last flew away high and straight. Finally, Murad left the bird. It went high into the sky. It started flying. Early every morning for 2 weeks, my cousin Murad and I took the horse out of the barn on the deserted vineyard where we were hiding it and rode it. And every morning the horse, when it was my turn to ride alone, leaped over grapes, vines and small trees and threw me and ran away. For 2 weeks they kept on practicing. Aram kept on practicing for horse riding. They used to take the horse from the deserted vineyard of the farmer Fatwazian, and their practice started. Whenever Aram wanted to ride the horse jumped, and it jumped so high that Aram used to fall down from the horse. Nevertheless, I hoped in time to learn to ride the way my cousin Murad rode. Yet, in spite of these failures, Aram was hopeful that he would also learn horse riding just like his cousin Murad. One morning on the way to Fatwazian's deserted vineyard, we ran into the farmer John Barrow, who was on his way to town. Let me do the talking, my cousin Murad said. I have a way with farmers. Good morning, John Barrow, my cousin Murad said to the farmer. Now, one day, when they were on their way with the horse, John Barrow was coming from opposite side. And when John Barrow was coming from opposite side, Aram was very much afraid. Then Murad at once controlled the situation, and he suggested Aram not to speak to John Barrow. Murad also added that he had a way with farmers. He knew very well how to deal with farmers. Good morning, John Barrow, my cousin Murad said to the farmer. The farmer studied the horse eagerly. The farmer was coming. Murad at once paid good morning. He paid a greeting to John Barrow. He said good morning to John Barrow. John Barrow came very close to the horse, started reading the horse, whether it was his horse. Good morning, son of my friends, he said. What's the name of your horse? My heart, my cousin Murad said in Armenian. John Barrow now wanted to know the name of his horse. Then Murad said the name of his horse was My Heart. A lovely name, John Barrow said, for a lovely horse. I could swear it's the horse that was stolen from me many weeks ago. May I look into his mouth? Now, John Barrow, reading all the features of the horse, told Aram and Murad that he was sure that it was his horse. 1 month ago, his horse had been stolen. He knew it very well that it was his horse, but there was a problem. Of course, Murad said. The farmer looked into the mouth of the horse. Tooth for tooth, he said. I would swear it's my horse if I did not know your parents. The fame of your family for honesty is well known to me. Yet the horse is the twin of my horse. Now John Barrow said here, he said to Aram and Murad that he was ready to claim that it was his horse, but he could not claim it as his horse because he knew very well about the honesty of Garogleanian family, and Aram and Murad belonged to very honest persons. They belonged to very honest parents. That's why he could not charge them of stealing the horse. Finally, he commented that it was the twin of his horse. It was the second type of his horse. A suspicious man would believe his eyes instead of his heart. Good day, my young friends. Now you see. John Barrow also added that a man who suspects something, a man who doubts something, believes in his eyes, not in his heart. But he believed in his heart, not in his eyes. His eyes told him that it was his horse, but his heart told him it was not his horse, because the boys who had kept the horse, they belonged to a Garogleanian family. Early the following morning, we took the horse to John Barrow's vineyard and put it in the barn. The dogs followed us around without making a sound. The dogs, I whispered to my cousin Murad, I thought they would bark, they would at somebody else. He said, I have a way with dogs. The next morning, the boys were afraid. They were fear-stricken that their family prestige will be lost. That's why the next morning only, they took the horse stealthily. And without anybody's knowledge, without John Barrow's knowledge, they went into the barn of John Barrow and they put the horse back there. When they were there, dogs started barking. Then Aram said, dogs are barking. Murad said, no, don't worry about it. I have a way with dogs. I will just manage them. My cousin Murad put his arms around the horse, pressed his nose into the horse's nose, patted it, and then we went away. Aram and Murad were there. Murad loved the horse. He fondled the horse just by poking his nose into his nose, just by patting its back, and then went away from there. That afternoon, John Barrow came to our house in his surrey and showed my mother the horse that had been stolen and returned. That very afternoon, when they had returned the horse, John Barrow came with his horse and cart to Aram's house. And he showed his mother, Aram's mother, that his horse which had been stolen, that had been found that day. He was very much happy. I don't know what to think. He said, the horse is stronger than ever, better tempered too. John Barrow also stated, he also exclaimed with pleasure that his horse was in better condition now. It was better controlled now. I thank God my uncle Khusro, who was in the parlor, became irritated and shouted, quiet man, quiet. Your horse has been returned, pay no attention to it. While John Barrow was appreciating and expressing his pleasure over getting his horse back, John Barrow was Uncle Khusro was getting irritated. And he was so much irritated that he again shouted at John Barrow and told him to become quiet. After all, he had found his horse, that's why he must not pay any kind of attention to it. So in this way, Aram and Murad returned the horse to John Barrow without the knowledge of John Barrow. They were afraid of the loss of the prestige of their family. They thought that they had encountered John Barrow face to face now. And John Barrow had finally come to know that there was an exact copy of the horse that Aram and Murad used to have. So that's why the boys were afraid and they returned the horse to John Barrow, though not directly but virtually. In the barn of John Barrow, they adjusted the horse again. They put the horse back there. After that, the boys got themselves completely relieved. Moral of the story is that we should work for our prestige. We should try to safeguard the prestige of our family. We should not defame our family. We should not, sell our prestige. Our family, which has maintained a kind of great prestige for many years, for many decades, that prestige, when in our hands, we should handle it properly. Thank you very much for this one.